everybody, and welcome back to SFF180. It is Monday morning, August the 3rd, and time once again for the Mailbag. I hope you guys have had a good week and a good weekend. Mine wasn't bad. The virtual Worldcon happened. That was a thing that happened. Yes. Otherwise, this week we have a pretty good mix of both physical books and electronic books to show you. I'm going to say a dozen total, give or take. So, since I really don't have anything going on in the way of announcements, let's not waste any more time and get right into them, shall we? Alright, going to start with the physicals. As always, I have 4 packages here total. And this first one is a little envelope from HarperCollins. And I'm very happy to have this. This is the finished copy of Failed State by my buddy Christopher Brown. This is the third, well actually it's the second book in this particular series, but it is the third book total that is set in this dystopian American near future that looks rather scarifyingly a lot like America does right this very minute, in fact. And this one is, let's see, it's about lawyer Donnie Chemo. These books have been described as sort of 1984 meets Better Call Saul. And his first book, Tropic of Kansas, which I have reviewed here, a pretty bleak story overall, don't mind saying. But Rule of Capture, which is the prequel to this one, and then Failed State, they're a little bit lighter, not quite so heavy. But it says, Danny Chemo juggles 2 intertwined cases whose outcomes will determine the course of America's future and his own. In the aftermath of a second American Revolution, peace rests on a fragile truce. The old regime has been deposed, but the former president has vanished, escaping justice for his crimes. Some believe he is dead, others fear he is in hiding, gathering forces. As the factions in Washington work to restore order, Donnie Chemo is in court to settle old scores and pay his own debts come due. Meanwhile, the rebels Donnie once defended are exacting their own kind of justice. In the ruins of New Orleans, they are building a green utopia and kidnapping their defeated adversaries to pay for it. The newest hostage is the young heiress to a fortune made from plundering the country, and the daughter of one of Donnie's oldest friends. In a desperate gambit to save his own skin, Donnie switches sides to defend her before the show trial. If he fails, so will the truce, and the country would be dragged back into violence. But by taking the case, Donnie risks his last chance to expose the atrocities of the dictatorship, and could be tried for his own crimes against the revolution. To save the future, Donnie has to gamble his own. The only way out is to find the evidence that will get both sides back to the table and secure a more lasting peace. To do that, Donnie must betray his client's trust, revealing one explosive secret hidden in the ruins, the discovery of which could extinguish the last hope for a better tomorrow, or, if Donnie plays it right, keep it burning. Okay, so this is an August trade paperback from Harper Voyager, Failed State, by Christopher Brown. Okay, so this next one is an Amazon package, so I have no idea who sent this to me or what it is, so let's find out together. Okay, so this is a novella from Silver Shamrock Publishing. It's one of 2 books in this package. Silver Shamrock is an independent horror imprint, I guess horror and also maybe some science fiction and what have you. This is called Slaves to Gravity. The authors are Wesley Southard and Summer Cannon. And I don't really see like a release date on it, but it is an ARC. It says not for resale. In fact, it says not for resale right along the middle of like the back cover where I need to read the synopsis. That's not helpful, guys. But I'll do my best anyway. The idea is, after waking up in a hospital bed, paralyzed from the waist down, Charlie Snyder had no idea where life would take her. Dejected, broken, and permanently bound to a wheelchair, she believed her life was truly over. That is, until gravity no longer applied. It starts out slowly, and then, she's floating from room to room. And then what I can make out, because it's got the label printed right over where I have to read. The idea is she decides to go ahead and go outside. She rose above her constraints to reveal a whole new world and found other damaged individuals just like her to confide in. But there are other things out there waiting in the dark, repulsive, secretive creatures that don't want Charlie to touch the sky, and they'll stop at nothing to keep her on the ground. Okay, I'm going to say it's an interesting premise, but I feel like it's going to be right down to the execution in this one, because this could very easily, if it isn't handled just right, it feels like the portrayal of the protagonist could really come across as very ableist. Because like this notion of damaged, I know that disabled people really resent that when they are portrayed in stories as if, their disability is just this thing that makes them broken, and they have to overcome it. That's, considered pretty demeaning, because it is, right? So again, it's all, back cover blurbs say one thing, but what the actual story might be like, it's all going to be down to the execution. So I'm a little wary of it, but I'm willing to at least give it a shot. Slaves to Gravity, though, available from Silver Shamrock Publishing on some date, by Wesley Southard and Summer Cannon. And then this next one looks like a full-length novel. It's by Asher Ellis. It is called Curse of the Pigman, and as you can see, we have a very displeased-looking pigman coming for you right here on the cover. Clearly, when one upsets a pigman, when the eyes start glowing, you know you're in trouble, right? Just run from the pigman at that point. So let's see what the pigman has to say for himself. It says, failed baseball player Jason Dillon has just moved to the quiet Vermont town of East Valley, but unfortunately, his timing couldn't have been worse. Though the entire 20th century only brought 8 notable storms to the Green Mountain State, Hurricane Ivana has just arrived with special delivery, a tree through Jason's roof. On his desperate trek to find help, Jason comes upon Sophia, a little girl who's been tied up and left in the woods. Despite his best intentions, Jason's attempt to help the child has interrupted the ritual of a neighborhood cult. Oh, God, the dang neighborhood cults? That's what HOAs are for, right? Anyway, a ritual that protects the town from ancient demonic swine. Okay, so you have a hurricane throwing a tree through your roof, and if that weren't bad enough, you've got a cult that worships an angry pig. Man, what a town. Okay, so let's see. Again, the not for resale sticker is printed right across the words here, but I get the idea that he can't get out of town for some reason. And so it says, cultists, cannibals, and the demon itself must all be defeated if Jason and his friends are going to survive the curse of the pigman. Okay, well, this could be fun in the way that only these books can be, right? But it is by Asher Ellis and from Silver Shamrock Publishing. And finally, for the physical books, we have 2 in from Macmillan, so a couple of new Tor titles. Oh, this is very nice to have. This is the physical arc for Karen Osborne's debut novel, Architects of Memory. This comes out August 25th. And it says Karen Osborne, who was a Hugo finalist for a short story this year. Karen Osborne takes on the far-future corporate dystopia of capitalism in the launch of her new nail-biting Deep Space Memory War series. Architects of Memory is a stunning science fiction debut set in the immediate aftermath of the devastating First Contact that left millions dead. Terminally ill pilot Ash Jackson lost everything in the war with the alien Vi, but she won't give up her future without a fight. Her plan is to buy, beg, or lie her way out of corporate indenture. But when Ash and her crew embark on the desperate search for a cure in a ravaged starship above a dead colony, her crew uncovers a conspiracy that threatens to turn her into a living weapon. Alrighty then. And this is getting a lot of good advanced buzz. It says, drawing on themes of corporate greed, political intrigue, and genocidal weapons, Architects of Memory is an unforgettable poetic space opera that is not to be missed this summer. Right on. And it is out from Tor on August the 25th. And finally, from Tor, we have the finished hardcover copy of Gene Wolfe's Interlibrary Loan. Now, Gene Wolfe, of course, a landmark fantasy writer, very much respected in the field, author of the Book of the New Sun series. This is his final book. He died late last year. And it's the sequel to a book, I believe, from either 2014, 2015, sometime around then, called A Borrowed Man. And this one, Interlibrary Loan, goes like this. Hundreds of years in the future, there are pockets of civilization and humans are few. There's advanced technology to sustain us, there are robots to do the heavy lifting, and there are reclones. E.A. Smythe is a borrowed person. His personality, an uploaded recording of a deceased mystery writer. Smythe is the property of the library system, not a legal human. As such, Smythe can be loaned to other branches. which he is. Along with two fellow reclones, a cookbook, and a romance writer, they are shipped to a secluded seaside town where Smythe meets a little girl who wants to save her mother, a father who is dead, but perhaps not. Another E.A. Smythe, who definitely is. This one is really short. It's like not even 250 pages long. So, it makes me wonder if, Mr. Wolf was kind of like just wrapping it up and finishing it up, as he, neared the end there. But he is very much missed. And this is his final book that he has left us, Interlibrary Loan, and I believe it is out now in hardcover from Tor Books. All right, everyone, coming up next, we have the E-Arcs. There are 6 of these. And I'm going to start out with one that looks pretty interesting. This is an independent book. The author contacted me and made a query himself, and I don't take too many of those, but this one looked kind of interesting and, piqued my curiosity, and I thought it might pique yours. This is a book called The Guardians of Iram and the Calamitous Child of Socotra. That's a mouthful, I know, but the author is A. Ali Hassan Ali. He's from Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates. When I was a very small boy, I lived in Dubai with my family for 3 years. I think I went to Abu Dhabi maybe on a couple of occasions. Of course, I would have been much too little to remember. I do remember Dubai, though. Nothing back then like it is today. Anyway, this novel, he says, is based on pre-Islamic ancient Arabia. To avert disaster, a powerful and secretive jinn master sets out to kill a calamitous child, a boy named Dalil, born under the serpent neck star. However, a young occultist apprentice also seeks the boy on behalf of his master, who believes Dalil must be saved. When both fail in their missions and Dalil is snatched away by an unknown abductor, his father, Fada, must spring into action to mount a rescue mission. Drawn into the cutthroat world of intercity political machinations and a rivalry between jinn masters and occultists, Fada journeys across ancient Arabia, enlisting allies along the way and risking everything to save his son. All right, then. So, yeah, I thought it was just, again, the setting, right, and the history is what fascinated me. So, this, I believe, is available now on maybe Amazon and where, maybe elsewhere that fine independent books are sold. The Guardians of Aram and the Calamitous Child of Socotra. Next up, we have a book in from Parvus Press. This is by Michael R. Underwood, and it's called Annihilation Aria. And it's a space opera, as you can probably see. And this is already out. Again, this came out on July the 21st. And it goes like this. Max is a cheery xenoarchaeologist from Earth, stranded and trying to find a way home. Lara is a stern warrior of a nearly extinct race, searching for her people's heir. Wheel is the couple's cybernetic pilot, running from her past and toward an unknown future. On Wheel's ship, the Kettle, the trio traverses the galaxy, dodging Imperial patrols and searching ancient ruins for anything they can sell. The crew of the Kettle are deeply in debt to their home base's most powerful gangster, and she wants her money back. So when a dangerous but promising job comes their way, Max, Lara, and Wheel have little choice but to take it. However, the crew of the Kettle gets more than they bargained for when they find themselves in possession of a powerful artifact, one that puts them in the crosshairs of the Vasenk, the galaxy's ruthless and oppressive Imperial overlords. Well, let's be fair. What is the whole point of being an Imperial overlord if you can't be ruthless and oppressive, right? Max, Lara, and Wheel are pulled into a web of galactic subterfuge, ancient alien weaponry, a secret resistance force, lost civilizations, and giant space turtles. The Vasenk will stop at nothing to recover what the crew of the Kettle has found, and Max's brains, Lara's muscle, and Wheel's skills may be all that stands between entire planets and annihilation. Can they evade space fascists, kickstart a rebellion, and save the galaxy, all while they each trying to find their own way home? What do you think, viewers at home? Will they or won't they? But Annihilation Aria, you can find out, by Michael Underwood, available now from Parvus Press. Now, how about a change of pace? Shall we maybe a good horror novel? I hope it's a good horror novel. It's a horror novel anyway. But this one is called Don't Move. And the authors are James S. Murray and Darren Wehrmuth. And as you can see from the spider web on the cover, the very big spider web, yeah, maybe Don't Move is good advice. This will be out on October 20th. James Murray and Darren Wehrmuth are the authors of The Awakened, trilogy from Harper Voyager. That's like a big creature feature trilogy, and this looks like very much the same kind of thing. It says, Megan Forrester has barely survived the unthinkable. 6 months ago, she witnessed a horrific accident that killed her husband and son, and lives with the guilt of knowing she could have done more to save them. Now, Megan hopes to mend the pieces of her broken spirit by attending a local church group's annual camping trip. Oh, those always go well, don't they? Yeah. But the church group members, riddled with dark secrets of their own, make a catastrophic navigational mistake, leaving them stranded in an untouched canyon in the West Virginian National Forest. Isolated from any chance of help or reason, Megan and the others quickly realize why this side of the canyon has never been surveyed by mankind. It's home to a terrifying prehistoric arachnid that patiently stalks its prey through even the slightest movement or vibration in the forest, and it's desperate for a meal. Grief-stricken and haunted by her tragic loss, Megan now faces her ultimate test of endurance. Can she outwit a bloodthirsty creature hell-bent on ensuring that no one gets out alive? When a single wrong turn can mean death, she only has one option: don't move. I am totally down for a book in which a giant spider eats a bunch of church campers. I'm completely into that, yes. Although, West Virginia, it's kind of like, imagine like this giant spider kind of lurking up in the trees with a little banjo. Like, when you hear the banjo music, run. All right. Anyway. Okay. Back to fantasy, shall we? This next one, Big Ol' Epic Fantasy, and it is by our buddy Andrzej Sapkowski, the author of the Witcher series. Has a book coming out from Orbit on October the 27th called The Tower of Fools. And, Orbit is pushing this as, a new adventure, but it's not really. Apparently, this was first published in Poland in 2002, so it's just another one of his books making its way to the West at last in English. It goes like this. Reinmar of Bilawa, sometimes known as Rainovan, is a doctor, a magician, and according to some, a charlatan. And when a thoughtless indiscretion finds him caught in the crosshairs of a powerful, noble family, he is forced to flee his home. But once he passes beyond the city borders, he finds that there are dangers ahead as well as behind. Strange mystical forces are gathering in the shadows, and pursued not only by the affronted Sterja brothers bent on vengeance, but also by the Holy Inquisition. Rainovan finds himself in the Norentum, the Tower of Fools. The tower is an asylum for the mad, or for those who dare to think differently and challenge the prevailing order. And escaping the tower, avoiding the conflict around him, and keeping his own sanity might prove a greater challenge than Rainovan ever imagined. Okay, so The Tower of Fools by Andrzej Sapkowski, coming from Orbit on October the 27th. Now, the last two books are a couple of Tor.com and Tor titles. And the first of these actually looks really, really good. This is by Andrea Hairston. It's called Master of Poisons. It's available September the 8th. And it says, award-winning author Andrea Hairston weaves together African folktales and post-colonial literature into unforgettable fantasy in Master of Poisons. The world is changing. Poison desert eats good farmland. Once sweet water turns foul. The wind blows sand and sadness across the empire. To get caught in a storm is death. To live and do nothing is death. There is magic in the world, but good conjure is hard to find. Jola, right-hand man and spy master of the Lord of the Archesian Empire, is desperately trying to save his adopted homeland, even in exile. Awa, a young woman training to be a powerful griot, tests the limits of her knowledge and comes into her own in a world of sorcery, floating cities, kindly beasts, and uncertain men. Awash in the rhythms of folklore and storytelling and rich with Hairston's characteristic lush prose, Master of Poisons is epic fantasy that will bleed your mind with its turns of phrase and leave you aching for the world it burns into being. Oh my. All right then. And so that is Master of Poisons. It is from Tor.com Publishing on September the 8th. And finally, from Tor Books, we have To Sleep in a Sea of Stars. This is by Christopher Paolini, the best-selling author of the young adult Aragon fantasy series. This is his first adult novel and first science fiction novel, first space opera. And I remember reading some interview clips with him recently. He's really, really put a lot of work into this one. You know, he says he spent 2 years researching the physics and everything. So, you know, it seems to have really put an effort in. So I'm willing to check this out. Really am. It comes out on September the 15th. And it goes, Kira Navarez dreamed of life on new worlds. Now she's awakened a nightmare. During a routine survey mission on an uncolonized planet, Kira finds an alien relic. At first she's delighted, but elation turns to terror when the ancient dust around her begins to move. As war erupts among the stars, Kira is launched into a galaxy-spanning odyssey of discovery and transformation. First contact isn't at all what she imagined, and events push her to the very limits of what it means to be human. While Kira faces her own horrors, Earth and its colonies stand upon the brink of annihilation. Now Kira might be humanity's greatest and final hope. Okay, I mean, premise-wise, it sounds like it's bringing in a whole lot of familiar stuff that we've seen, but hopefully the execution is exciting. I really hope it is, because the book is 880 pages. But anyway, To Sleep in a Sea of Stars, as I said, will be out from Tor Books on September the 15th. And that's it for this week's mailbag. You guys know the drill. Light up those comments. Let me know which of these looks most interesting and exciting to you, which you would like to see me prioritize for review. And if you enjoyed watching, please hit that like button, share the video far and wide with all of your SFF reading friends, and above all, please subscribe if you have not done so. That's how the channel grows. You can also support the channel at my TeePublic store and at my Patreon, where recruits into Wink's Army get little perks like getting to see some of my videos early access. I want to thank all of those wonderful people for their additional support. It is very helpful and greatly appreciated. I want to thank all the rest of you bozos, lovable nerds, for being the very best viewers in all of BookTube. And until I see you all next time, stay safe and happy reading.